Wait a minute. My commission's done. I don't gotta get up early anymore. I'm the content creator! Hello there, and welcome to episode 2 of this wonderful series. No, wait, where did we... Oh! Yes! Yes. So where we just left off, Popper and the gang were just entering the town of Blackwood, which is a relatively small town populated by humans. With everybody now on board with Victor's mission, we decided to head to the closest inn, known simply as the Bubbling Cauldron. In later, what will be a very time-honored tradition, Popper was the first to actually scamper in. But everybody had their own unique ways to start the investigation off, including, but not limited to, Vasira accidentally telling Nicholas's brother that he's actually dead, Flea begging for scraps like a giant dog, and Popper... Hi! Hello. Trying his best. Though, some important things to note. 1, everybody had been carrying this strange and unsure feeling for about 2 weeks now. 2, the graves in the cemetery have all been turning up empty. And 3, apparently all of the animals in the forest have been going missing. Which all lines up in the same timeline, suspiciously, as the criminal who was hung. So, Victor, Vasira, and Flea were all able to gather this specific information, which may leave you wondering, what did Popper get out of all of this? Funnily enough, he didn't get necessarily that information, but he did find a person of interest. And honestly, the two of them weirdly hit it off. And I mean weirdly hit it off. Because you gotta understand, they were wearing a bandana on the lower half of their face, with only their green eyes playfully glancing down at the green hand that waved over their cards. And this individual, he would soon come to know, was Silithia, a shockingly playful yet still mysterious figure who seemed to be in town for some time. Don't get me wrong, he did still try to lie with Snap the Shincracker because, who doesn't want a cool name like that? And she could definitely see through everything. But she was willing enough to play along, and I don't know, they just had this really fun energy going on. The way they talked was as if they were old friends that were just meeting up for the first time in a few days. And thanks to that, Silithia kind of opened up on some facts of her own. The main things to note is Silithia is actually a noble, and because of a higher perception check, Popper ended up seeing some hints of mutilation on the side of her head, which she was quick to recover with her hood.
Hey, I know we haven't known each other long, but whatever it is, I won't pry. I understand.
Thank you, Papa. That means a lot.
Fleet best dog.
Guys, a girl, give me your number, what do I do? The party agrees to check out the cemetery in the morning, and the rooms are divided between 1 small and 1 tall, with Victor hogging with Vasira and Flea bunking with Celie and Popper. Though Popper was late to join Flea and Celie as he promised to speak privately with Silithia in room 4. Despite this being the first played-out session, each of these groups really open up to each other in surprising ways in their alone time, which I'm going to be diving deeper into in my new series segment, Shadow Puppet Shorts, for those who want a more intimate look into how certain characters bond over time. Right now, the main things to note would be Vasira and Victor building the first foundation of trust in the party, Flea using Speak with Animals on Celie and accidentally getting a good Popper and philosophy rundown, and Popper, beyond one gifted charlatan's die as a sign of friendship from Silithia, getting very important information that we'll reveal in just a bit, right after, the abduction.
Oh, good girl!
Get back inside! Get back inside!
Oh my god, what the hell was that?
I don't know, and I'm not sure.
There's only one way to find out!
Deeper and deeper the party goes into the wheat field, darkness covering every corner, until suddenly, on a failed deck save, Popper and Flea are smacked back into the wheat before a large figure shambles out in shredded, withered hand-me-down clothes. Clumps of straw peer out of the holes, gnarled limbs held together by twisted wires and hands ending in big, rusty claws. The stuffed bag crudely stuffed into a head, split horizontally in a perverse grin, and a faint glow emanates from its eyes.
Ah, it's just called a scarecrow, little buddy. It's all good.
The scarecrow has risen. Roll initiative. Tom, I know you'll never get the chance to read this, but I wanted to say that I'm sorry. Sorry for what happened to you. Sorry about what had been done. You were a good man. I know that more than anyone. And whatever you became in those last days was not you. That one day after this life, we may perhaps see each other again, and I'll get to see that smile I love so much. Bye, Aurelsha. Oh, this is Elvish. It reads, Desc Dust Song. Popper's heart sinks as this name is read out loud. There's only one person he's met so far with that first initial, and there's internal panic over whether or not he's been lied to up until this point. But fear aside, he leads the party to room 4, and Silithia lets them all inside to discuss their find. She confirms that this is indeed her letter that she left on the Scarecrow, and after an insight check, it's found that she's genuinely confused why we took it off, and wants to know what Zannianator we're talking about. So Popper catches her up on the situation, and now understanding the severity, Silithia has no choice but to catch up the others on what Popper already knows, while also giving the rest of her story. Slipping off her hood fully, Silithia reveals that she is an elf with choppy short hair, sharp features, and most importantly, self-mutilated ears reduced to that of a human ear's size. Before she explained to Popper that elven nobility has impossible high standards that no one is allowed to break from, never finding a sense of self and often living in these empty shells for hundreds upon hundreds of years until they eventually die. Silithia at one point had a mental breakdown, and unable to deal with this part of her life, chopped off her symbol of nobility and fled, never to look back again. Wandering alone for countless years, she had never trusted nor spoken to anyone. That is, until she met a human named Tom in the city of Blackwood. Tom taught her card tricks, cons, got her to stop harming herself, and Silithia clarifies he never hurt people and never stole from those who couldn't afford it. But one day, they lifted a pouch off a strange man passing through, and in that pouch was a little black disc that gave her a bad feeling. However, Tom became strangely attached. He took that disc home and completely changed, Silithia never knowing what happened to him, but noting he was distant, unhinged, and violent. Eventually they ran into Nicholas, and when they went to steal from him, Tom snuck up from behind to brutally murder the man Victor eventually found on the roadside. Silithia had no choice but to turn him in, which led to Tom being hung outside of town. And sadly in this moment, she now believed that whatever was happening, whatever took him over, was exactly what was haunting Blackwood. My best friend is probably suffering as much in the grave as he was in life. So the stage is set. Silithia directs the party to Tom's house just north of town, and promises to stay safe while the party goes to investigate the boarded-up home. Basira knocks down the door, and with some investigation, Popper finds a torn-up journal of Tom's. Every time Silithia is mentioned, her name is crossed out, but it starts talking about his early fascination, how he found it off the person, and how he couldn't really understand what creeped out Silithia so much. In the next page, he notes that the disc is gone, that he swore that he slept with it, only to find that it vanished the next morning, that he himself overturned the house trying to find it, only to note that he could swear he saw something moving beneath his skin. Beyond that, the pages start to scream for help, claiming that he could feel something burning and that he could see what he was once blind to, but never really describing more than losing his grip, until finally, he speaks of how Silithia never understood, how neither of them did. The last sentence is reading, "Only I can see what has been done. This was inevitable. I hope she forgives me."
It had to have been in his skin.
While nobody knows what the object is, eventually Fritz tells us that Tom was buried under the large oak tree outside of town where he was hung. There lies a heavy feeling in the air beyond the unsettling one we'd grown accustomed to here, and with a 21 Arcana roll, Popper points out the powerful magic lurking inside the tree. With some investigation from Flea, and a little guiding bolt, we find some invisible chains covering up a massive hole under the roots, and Popper investigating further, he now understands that this is specifically necromancy, which is a magic dealing with the undead. Understandably, Silithia has no idea of what's going on with this and doesn't have any answers for the unsettling discovery of the chains. But once more, she stays back to investigate, and we go forward to investigate the nice, peaceful cemetery. The nice, peaceful coffin! Whoa! Did they just... Flea gets scolded for her crimes, and this is the only episode where Popper and Basira will be on the same wavelength. So from here, the underground area kind of turns into a mini dungeon, so a lot of what happens is more so what we end up finding along the way. Oh.
That is mine!
No! Popper! 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 Stop! It's already dead! Stop! From here, the breakdown's pretty simple. We find about like 20 pieces of gold. Flea still hates Popper for no real reason. Popper finds this really neat orange agate that they don't really know the name of, but at least they know that it has some cool magical properties to it. And then we have to deal with what was... Oh, no. Okay. I'm telling you now, we spent a really long time on this fucking puzzle. It was a really simple dripping puzzle where every path had a different drip to it, like a different number. And I'm cutting it off now. The solution was door number 3, door number 4, and then you go back through door number 4. I can't animate the 40 minutes it took us going from door to door, overthinking the riddle, and just... I can't do it! You can't make me go back! Right, so on to the discovery of Tom's corpse. Lying just beyond the door puzzle, we find the body covered in thick vines and roots, nodding into his decaying body. All around us, faint whispers swirl, while the roots pulsate with a sickening purple color. Vasira attempted to speak to it, but the most she got by coming closer was the whispering growing louder, so she asked Popper to try and mention Silithia to see if it got a reaction. That seemed to agitate the voices a bit, and as the duo stepped even closer, they were starting to make out what the whispers had to say.
Do you see that? They've come to stop this. Such nerve. So despicable. They want to get rid of the body. Can you feel it? Can you see it in their eyes? Such hateful little eyes. Perhaps we should remove them, yes? Or maybe we should remove more than just those.
The vines part, twisted and spiny figures freeing themselves at last to throw themselves at the party, the bodies of Twig, Needle, and Vine Blights all around. This is one of my favorite team-ups that sold me on the party's dynamic. Vasira and Victor did their best they can with swords swinging, Popper blasting through with Sacred Flame and Cecilia's powerful bites to whoever needed backup, Flea backing up Vasira with Primal Savagery, and Vasira's final body-splitting blow to one of the Vine Blights, truly in sync and truly in harmony. Popper and Vasira took up the lead to destroy the vines and roots embedded in Tom's body, and once free, Vasira observes the purple, pulsating light in the corpse's chest, and raising her sword, even covered, we can feel the intense anger radiating from it, and raising an arm, the winds reach dizzying speeds all around us, the tightened noose around its neck whipping around with it. Yet over it all, we hear one voice call out firmly, unflinching and masking the real pain behind it. Tom, that's enough. The spirit of Thomas Nash has appeared. Roll for initiative. A long, bloody battle with the ghost of Thomas Nash. An entity hard to strike, but not impossible. The angered ghost can snatch and paralyze its victim on a failed con save, tossing the failed bodies aside like limp ragdolls up to 30 feet away from their body. Physical attacks hardly do anything, but they still do something against the howling ghost. It's clear that with each strike Silithia delivers, the ghost is hurt more and more mentally by the betrayal of his once dear friend. Flea, get Popper! Tom reacts without mercy, dodging and screaming with every blow, and lost to the anger within.
Flea got you! Thanks, Flea. Fuck off!
Guiding Bolt tips the form over the edge to make it more unstable, mindless as it tosses Vasira and Victor, and hissing as Silithia continues to call for him. Tom, I know you don't have control of this, and I know this isn't you, so you could believe me when I say this is for your own good. The party's looking pretty bad, but no one yields. Healing is passed around where it can be spared, but not even Silithia could brace for Tom's sudden retaliation towards her. Tom, I know you're probably not in there anymore, but this really sucks. So I would appreciate it if I didn't die today. Victor, Vasira, Flea, each tear in, yet the ghost still stands, roaring into the violent sky with the last of its energy, while Popper stares long and hard at the wounded elf. With a rage Popper hasn't felt in years, he leaps onto Seely's back to charge forward, screaming loud and defiant as the clouds part with an angry swirl of bright flames.
You fucked with the wrong people!
Thomas Nash disappears in a flash of light, leaving Silithia to drop her blade and barely holding back the joy of the nightmare being over while the townsfolk slowly emerge. The comforting air of joy is all around, and we have won our first battle. The townsfolk are very, very grateful for all we've done. And as for the 4 of us, We return to the bubbling cauldron, where drinks and food are free for the heroes of the town. Laughter fills the air for the first time since we've arrived, and Silithia's off having a drink by herself. And everyone's free to catch up with who they wish.
So, what's the plan from here?
Not sure, but perhaps for now I'll just wing it. But yes, Popper, I'll be sticking around a little while longer. Popper, you saved my life back there.
What? Oh! Anybody would probably have done the same. I don't know,
You did great out there. You all saved a ton of people today, and it never would have happened if you hadn't come into town.
I'm just glad I got to meet you. I know you're probably busy with other stuff and your own thing, but I'm really happy I met you.
I am too, and I really hope we get to meet again someday.
You know how to write, right?
Yes, Popper, I know how to write.
Oh, cool. Cause sometimes some girls don't know how to write, or some guys don't know how to write. So maybe we could write sometime.
Or we could try this instead.
Thank you. It's a rock.
Yes, it's a rock. But if you keep that on your person, then I'll never be too far off.
You're really one of the first friends I've met in a while, so I want to keep in touch.
Trust me, we will. And believe me, even if I'm not the first, with someone like you, I don't expect to be the last. Fritz takes the time to thank Vasira for everything she and the party has done. None of this is what she saw herself doing in the future, but that bit of praise actually makes her smile for the first time. The only problem is here that with an incredibly low perception check, Vasira catches sight of something impossibly fast in the corner of her eye, though she brushes it off as a trick of the light. And I only bring it up because to this day, about 100 plus episodes in, we still can't really tell what that could have been.
Wow, Flea! Everybody's really taking to you being a werewolf. You did an amazing job out there. Maybe if word gets out like this, less people will feel so intimidated by you. I guess so. I really hope so. Wait, what did you say? Bork? You can talk this whole time? Why didn't you say anything?
Because a dumb werewolf is better than a smart one?
Well, you don't have to keep any more secrets in this group. I really, really want to be your friend, Flea, and I hope you'll trust me someday and think of me the same way.
Victor. This has been a good experience. And while I can't explain a lot, I've been in your position before, and it felt right to be doing the good thing after so long. I appreciate your partnership, and I'm open to continuing with wherever this path may lead.
You have no idea how much that means to me!
But no mission is complete without payday! Oh, fuck my puppets! Oh god, oh Jesus! Hey, guys! You actually came back? That's the first time anybody's ever kept their promise for me in a really, really long time.
Give us the goods!
Let's go ahead and list off the basics of this shopping spree real quick. Flea gets silver arm braces for her archery and perfume of bewitching. Vasira, like a responsible mom, gets 4 health potions for everybody, and an item called the Clockwork Amulet, which I'll get into next episode. Victor ends up getting... it talks it, it's free of charge. Now, little lizard guy. Victor, little lizard guy, I have a potion here you might be interested in. It's 75, so it's a little expensive, but it lets you breathe fire. And honestly, Popper gets, like, a lot. He really likes buying a lot. So the important thing to note for him is he gets the Saddle of the Cavalier, some Dust of Disappearance, and a Hat of Disguise. And because honestly he's never done it before, he tries to haggle with Danny, which it kind of goes well. He only has to pay 100 gold and some jerky, but Danny also proposes that Popper give him 1 good memory out of his life, like any good memory.
That feels really shady.
I'm already a dude in the woods selling you shit. How much shadier can it get?
You know what? That's a fair point.
Is no one else going to... Okay. So for that part of the transaction, Danny pulls out like this weird glass orb, and then inside goes Popper's memory.
I'll explain that later.
We get an explanation on the agate too, which is a luck stone. But before anybody else could leave...
Okay, and the rest? Huh? I don't got anything else.
You're really jerky to be around, kid.
Hey, I'm probably older than you.
You know, I somehow sincerely doubt that. But come on, seriously, what's the other thing in your bag? Confused, Popper starts digging around in his bag to show him all the little things he's got, like the charlatan's die and even the key, but Danny just keeps insisting there's something else, until finally Popper feels something cold and smooth against his hand. Confused, he pulls it out to reveal a small, black disc, bringing the whole shack to a stunned silence. Vasira asks Popper where he got it, assuming he snatched it from somewhere, and when Popper insists he never grabbed it, the whole room grows cold. Frowning, Danny flatly states that we need to find a way to destroy this. It's not something from his shop, and it's not something he can recognize from a glance or knows how to destroy, but he wants it immediately gone from his property. Danny may have not seen what happened in town, but if the swirling clouds he saw was any indication of its power, we need to keep it away from people. And when we're alone, we need to find a way to destroy it.
But why do I have it?
Well, you were the one who finished off Tom.
But I never grabbed it!
Dude, I'll give you 10 gold if you take it out of my store right now.
100!
Pushing it.
15?
Sold. Happy to do business with you. Come back anytime. Popper is pacing and the party is a bit of a mess, and he clearly doesn't want this on his person. Flea says she could take it, but then gets called out for lying even more than Popper, so the compromise Vasira comes to is to give it to whoever he trusts most at the time, which in turn is Vasira.
Great.
As we're mulling over this conversation, someone in town runs over to tell us that someone is actually looking for us. Confused, we go back to find a young human man with surprisingly white, powdery hair and blue clothes with a silver trim. Strapped to his back is a lyre, and he has blue eyes. He smiles when he sees us, clearly excited, and says,
Oh, the four of you are the ones who solved the problem with the clouds last night. Yes.
What's it to you?
Oh, sorry, let me introduce myself. My name's Garrett Frost, and, well, I have a job for you.